to take part in this debate, and I congratulate the member for Dudley South and the other members who ensured that this debate took place in the Backbench Business Committee, and also all of those who have contributed to what has been a very good-humoured debate with very little disagreement, I think, that we need to support our local pubs and we need to ensure that there's taxation regimes that are appropriate to ensure particularly responsible drinking can take place. I want to talk about a few things about Scotland and also some wider points on tax. In Scotland, we've obviously pioneered minimum alcohol pricing, which mostly affects cheap supermarket alcohol, and ensures that those incredibly cheap, high alcohol content ciders, for example, that are sold in supermarkets have to be sold at a higher price. But that's not what we would do in an independent Scotland. In an independent Scotland, we would be looking for a comprehensive review of alcohol taxation overall, and in fact we would ask the government to do that, and we did move that in a finance bill previously, because actually I think if you're looking at alcohol taxation, looking at any of the things individually is, in some ways, you can only do that for a few years before you need to do an overall review. And we think that review should be based on the amount of alcohol that is in each of those drinks, and therefore taxation should be levied on an appropriate basis. And just on I know that this debate is about beer and pubs taxation, but in pubs, 42% of the alcohol value that is sold is wines and spirits. So it's also very important that that's considered in any decisions that are being made going forward. And in fact, given that women consume 3 times as much wine as they do beer, it's quite important to consider wine in this context and not just beer. As somebody that likes a pint rather than a glass of wine, I'm on the other side of this argument, but I understand that an awful lot of people are concerned about wine taxation as well. Just on the post-dilution point of view that has been mentioned by a number of members, in fact I'm pleased that the government is bringing forward a review on this. I've been approached by constituents who are keen to see a change in this, and it would be useful if the Minister in his summing up could let us know what's happening about the timescales for that, because I'm not clear on the timescales going forward, although the government may have said that in the past. Just on taxation in general terms, I think there are 3 different reasons that taxation is used. For a start, to generate revenue for the government, also to discourage negative behaviour and also to encourage positive behaviour, particularly in the case of reliefs. So I think looking at that package, actually the government in assessing taxation on alcohol and pubs needs to think of those 3 things going forward. What does it want to encourage, what does it want to discourage, and how much revenue does it need to generate from any decisions that it's taking? And I think the view around the House is actually that responsible social drinking is the way to go forward, rather than people having to drink at home and choosing to drink incredibly high alcohol volume drinks. Just on business rates, while we're talking about it, in Scotland we've got the most friendly environment for business rates in the UK. We've got 2 out of 5 pubs in Scotland receive the small business bonus or receive and pay 0 or reduced business rates as a result. And also in Scotland, 90% of properties pay a lower poundage than they would if they were in the rest of the UK. We've done everything that we can to ensure that we've got the most competitive taxation regime for properties. Just a wee bit on the contribution to the economy in Scotland, £1.7 billion contribution to the economy from beer and pubs. And brewing and pub industries support the employment of 60,000 people in Scotland, which is significant. In my constituency, although I don't have the breweries, I do have the first bars for Fierce Beer, for 6 Degrees North, and also for Brewdog. All 3 of those first pubs are in my constituency, although, as I say, the breweries are not there, so it's nice to be able to give them a shout out. So I appreciate the tone in which this debate is taking place. If the Minister could answer my question on the post-dilution point, that would be incredibly useful. And also, if he would commit to a review of alcohol taxation in general, that would be great, but I'm not sure he'll be able to go that far today. Thanks very much.
Annalise Dodds.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I'd first like to, of course, congratulate the member for Dudley South for securing this debate. As my friend for Coventry South said, this wasn't the first time that we've debated many of these